So hello, and back again with Ripley again. She's obviously the cat for helping me film videos with. So this video, this short video, is to do with the hamstrings, how we can stretch the hamstrings. Again, it's a factor of modern living. We do too much sitting around, and as we sit, as opposed to when we talk about the hips, which become really tight, the hamstrings stretch around the base of our glutes. And in fact, they become weak. They're longer and weaker. Sometimes, though, they will tighten, and as they tighten up just through lack of use or through overuse, because if you do a lot of running or a lot of walking, the hamstrings will tend to take over. They do all the activity. And when the hamstrings get really tight, then that in turn can pull your pelvis out of alignment, flattening out the natural curves in your back. So the sort of symptoms of hamstrings could simply be aching pain. The aching could be in the top of the legs, at the back or the front, because the hamstrings come up and join into the pelvis. You could get lower back pain as well. So those are some of the classic symptoms of tightness, not having any flexibility, but then also leading to pain. As always, if you have pain, please get it checked out with a GP first or a physiotherapist, just to make sure that the diagnosis is correct. I'd rather you did that before you start on any or embark on any stretching routine. So all I'm going to do with you today is give you 4 types of stretches that can help with hamstrings. You might want to have to hand, as well as a cat that's biting your finger, a piece of, this is a yoga strap. Okay, you could use a dressing gown cord, you could use a necktie. Better to use something that has no flexibility in it, so it doesn't give, because then you can feel the giving in your hamstrings rather than thinking it's just the band that's stretching. So something that's firm and tight. Okay, as I've mentioned before, the stretches I'm going to suggest, you don't just hold 20 or 30 seconds and then move away from it. In that length of time, the muscle fibers only just started to move and shift. Obviously, any pain, come out of it. But I'm going to suggest you come into it gently, maybe not go quite as deep as you would hope to, and then over the next 2 or 3 minutes, have a timer with you. Just allow the timer to tick away and simply be quiet and observe the changes that happen in your body. It's the principles of yin yoga, about as you relax, the connective tissue has a chance to stretch, but the body needs to be calm. So use your breath. Remember long, slow exhalations, and try and sink into that stretch as you do it. So we'll have a go at releasing off something in your hamstrings. We're going to start off standing. And the first one is a very simple, what we call a dangling exercise, a forward fold. It may be you want a sofa in front of you, it may be you want a chair in front of you that you can start off holding on to. You may want blocks or bricks in front of you that you can just have your hands on. So that's another good one to start with. So you'll start off standing tall. I'm talking about this time the area down the back of your legs. These are your hamstrings. They cross over at the back of your knee, so it can lead to knee tightness. They also cross over into your pelvis. The hamstrings cross both of these joints, so if they're tight, it can affect posture throughout. So you're going to stand tall, and in true Pilates style, we're going to perform a roll down. So once your feet are hip distance apart, you're looking out towards the horizon, you're dropping your chin towards your chest and just rounding your back, trying to keep your body weight forward into your toes, so you're not leaning back into your heels. And you might start off with your hands on your thighs. Try not to lock the knees out, so they have a very gentle bend, but then tighten up through your thighs. So you can place your hands down on blocks. You can come down a little bit lower and simply let your head be heavy, let your arms be heavy, let your shoulders be heavy. Now, if any of that is too uncomfortable to start with, you come back up out of it and then simply wait. I'm not going to stay here for the full 2, 3 or 4 minutes. Again, increment this up. Maybe for a week you do it for 2 minutes, then you take it up to 3 minutes, then you take it up to 4 minutes. But you're hanging here, focusing on the body weight forward. Maybe your hands come down towards the mat. We want the legs as straight as you can get them, but without locking out. If you lock out, you're going to get the back of the knee pain, so gently dropped, gently bent. If you want to increase this stretch, once you've got used to it and you've been here for a few minutes, you can roll yourself all the way back up again. Maybe hold on to something for support and then cross your right foot over your left foot. So they're just gently crossed. Again, keep the knees slightly soft and roll yourself down again. So this will push more stretch into the back. If you've got your right foot in front, into the back of the right leg. Again, your head is heavy, your arms are heavy. Might take a bit of adjustment so that your knees are not sort of too uncomfortable on each other. And hanging. Once the knees are uncomfortable, just be careful of any discomfort in the back of the left knee. So hanging, again, keeping your body weight forward. You'll probably feel it in the back of both legs. Keep breathing. Gentle pull back of your tummy will allow a bit of extra freedom in your lower back. And also you do one side. 2 minutes, start with 2 minutes, build up to 3 or beyond. And then when you finish, you will curl yourself all the way back up, walk your hands back up your thighs, and just release off through your legs before you do that on the other side. Coming down onto the floor for your next exercise, your next stretch. And this is called a half butterfly. So what you're going to be doing in this position, don't need to be sitting cross-legged, you're going to extend one leg, so take the right leg out at about 45 degrees, or as wide as you can get it. Your left leg then folds, so the sole of your foot is into your groin. You can sit on a block for this one if you want to. So you can just simply start off holding this position, feet flexed, both feet are flexed, half butterfly. And then over time, again, using a block if you want to, you can walk your hands out in front of you. I've got a nice cat here to use as a cushion. I'm not sure she's going to jump up when I start placing my forehead down on it. And just start walking out. So you might not go very far to start with, but you'll feel the stretch up the back of your right leg, maybe around the knee, maybe just above. So that can be quite a tight pinch point. So just lean into that. Try and keep both buttocks equally on the mat. So as you come forward, you don't lift the right buttock. They're both firmly engaged into the mat. Again, you don't have to drop your head really low, keeping the back as straight as you can. So again, this is one of those stretches you might think, but I want to go all the way to the floor, and it's really frustrating. But just take your time. Eventually, you may be able to come down onto your forearms. You may want to place a block underneath your forehead to act as a support, so there's no tension in the back of your neck. So there's no tension in other parts of your body. It means that you're not holding tension, which then might have the effect on the leg. So all connected throughout. So again, you'd be holding this, starting off just with 2 minutes, maybe moving up to 3 minutes. Coming a little bit lower. Again, at this point, feel free to stop the video. Just keep your timer going. Watching the sensations. So if anything starts to feel uncomfortable or burns, you've gone too far. Okay, so this is why it's about incrementally, slowly coming down. Wait for the body to release. Quite often, as you breathe in and a deep exhalation out, then you'll be able to find you can go deeper. When you finish, you'll walk your hands back up. Take the hands behind the back of your thigh to bend the knee. Bring it back to center. And again, a little windscreen wiper position just to release off through any tension. And then obviously you repeat that on the other side. I'm not going to do that right now. I'll leave you to do the other side. Stop the video and take it onto the other side. 2 more exercises. The next one is an exercise called caterpillar. You're going to have your legs out in front. You can have a series of blocks in front of you between your knees. Keep your knees hip distance apart. And if you think about the dangling we did at the start, which is a forward fold, it's exactly the same now. Again, you might want to sit on the edge of a yoga block. And you're simply going to pull yourself down and walk your hands away from you. Hold your tummy in, and you're trying to make your back as long as you possibly can as you fold forward. So this is stretching with the feet pointing up towards the ceiling, the whole back chain of muscles. So the fascia underneath your feet, the back of your Achilles tendon, up the back of your calf, then the back of your knee, the length of your hamstrings, up into your back, and folding all the way forwards. When you first start off, you might think it's all I can do to keep my legs out in front without curving through the back of the knees. Back of the knees are uncomfortable, you could place a small rolled up towel just behind the back of the thighs. But at the end of the day, the aim of this is to stretch the back of the legs. You just start to lower yourself down bit by bit. Again, have your timer going. You're looking at doing the timing for around about 2 or 3 minutes. And again, using your breath, maybe using the block to lie down on and place your forehead so there's no tension in your neck. I'm just squashing a cat here at the moment. Shoulders are heavy, head is heavy. And while you wait, I call it the magic to happen, it gets to a point at around 2 minutes. And then suddenly on exhalation, you'll notice your body going forward a little bit more. That's about the length of time it takes for the connective tissue to be fully lubricated by using the gentle exhalation. Well, the body rests and you can go deeper. Again, observe your lower back. Just notice any sensations. Mild sensations are okay. Pull your tummy in and that will help to support your back in the forward fold. Again, this used to be a stretch that I couldn't come very far down in. And if I do it now for 3 minutes, quite often I'm bent double. It has a lovely feeling of freedom through my back chain of muscles. Take a breath in and to come out. Again, you'll use your hands to push yourself up slowly and just sit upright for around about 30 seconds, just letting the sensations pass for the benefit to be felt. And the final stretch for your hamstrings is one that's well known. It's a classic one. Just move the cat. Lying yourself down onto your mat and bringing your strap with you. Now, classically, this is done with one foot up towards the ceiling, holding behind your thigh, and you can certainly start there. Some of the temptations that I've seen is for people to want to pull the leg in so far, if the cat moves out of the way, what actually happens to the buttock that's on the floor is that lifts right up. And just because the foot comes overhead, it's thought that we get the stretch in the hamstring. That is no more stretch there than that is there. Because the buttocks now down and we're looking at the angle and feeling the stretch in the back of the leg. So you can simply start off holding it here and you can make it more effective by taking the supporting leg away. It also gets a stretch through the front of the hip flexor. If you want to bring the strap into operation, you place the strap around the bottom of the foot and then you've got something to hold on to. So the tension is there. Again, just being careful not to lock the knee out. So it has a very slight bend. So just take it off lock so we're not over hyperextending the back of the knee. And then you simply hold it. And this is one of those stretches I know that in the past I've got impatient with thinking, but why isn't my foot, why aren't my toes touching the floor behind my head? Okay, first, very few of us are made to have that sort of angle. But it takes time with tight hamstrings, particularly around the back of the knee, for this to give. Again, this is what in this exercise or this stretch, it's absolutely imperative to work with your breath. You'll take a breath in and then a long, slow exhalation out. As you exhale, after 2 minutes, you'll probably be able to bring the foot in just a fraction closer. And it might be a millimetre at a time. But if you think with each 5 breaths, if it's a millimetre at a time, that's half a centimetre. Doing tens of breaths, maybe you bring it in a centimetre. I'm simply staying with that. If a shake sets in at all in your thigh, ease off with the stretch. Take the leg back out of it, please. Otherwise, you're just putting your leg under too much pressure. Give it a rest for 20 seconds and then start to pull it in again. Sometimes that's best. That's an effective way of releasing the stretch reflex, where the body wants to hold the leg in a certain position because it's frightened. It thinks you're going too far too quickly. So it may be a little bit in and then release off, and then a little bit further in and release off. Again, 2 up to 4 minutes on each side. When you finish, you're going to release the strap, bend the knee in towards you. That feels beautifully stretched out now. I can feel it. Just hug the knee in or both knees in towards you. and then lower one foot, lower the other foot, roll onto your side, remove the cat from your tummy. It's not going to play silly games, and then come back to a seated position. So those are your 4 stretches for your hamstrings. So we looked at dangling, and then dangling with the progression, which is with your cross legs. So that's the forward fold in vertical position. If you do have high or low blood pressure, that's the one just to be careful of, coming out of it and also staying down there for a long period of time. So be prepared to come out of it if you feel dizzy or giddy. You've always got the lying hamstring stretch instead, with the leg being used with the strap. Half butterfly, a lovely stretch to do for the back of the legs and your lower back. And then caterpillar as well. And in caterpillar, remember to support your head while you're doing the forward fold, and simply be patient. The thing is with all stretching is patience. It doesn't just happen. We spend so much of our time in a seated position, in one position, and let our muscles tighten, become weak. And then miraculously, we want the muscles to become super stretchy and our joints to be super flexible in 10 seconds. And it doesn't quite work like that. So be prepared to put some time into your stretching, and then your hips and the back of the legs should open up really nicely, giving you more flexibility and also more capability to do stronger work after that. If your hip flexors and your hips are open, your glutes will work much harder, for example. The hamstrings are nicely loose. It gives more opportunity to the rest of the thighs and your core to take over and do lots of work. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please stop and start it as much as you need to, and use your timer to get the most out of it. Thank you very much.